Dramatic streaks of lightning across the Dundee skyline marked a change in the weather, but not an end to the drought. And if you're one of those who's been praying for rain, spare a thought for cinema goers in Inverness. They watched a real-life drama unfold as water poured through the roof following a thunderstorm. A nearby Tesco store was flooded when ceiling tiles collapsed. But in the driest part of the UK, the east of England, not a drop has fallen today. The patchwork of fields looks more like a desert. Droughts have been declared in Lincolnshire and East Anglia. With such events likely to become more common in the future, Anglian Water is laying 400 kilometres of pipeline from Grimsby to Colchester to secure supplies.
It's all about flexibility in the network and being able to link areas up to other areas which have shortfalls and deficits, so we can just play tunes with the network as and when we need to.
What would happen if this wasn't built?
If this wasn't built, there'd be a shortfall in the region, so we need to be thinking about the future.
What sort of shortfall?
Shortfall would be 30 million litres per day in the next 5 years.
It'll be 3 years before this pipeline is up and running. In the meantime, the region remains the driest in the UK, and Anglian Water is losing 172 million litres of water on average every day through leaks. And yet there are no plans for a hosepipe ban here. Why no hosepipe ban? It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, actually, for Anglian Water, we've spent the last sort of 20-30 years preparing for the dry weather, and it's projects like this that we're here at today which ultimately the reason why we don't need to implement a hosepipe ban this summer. So we've invested in resilience, we've invested in driving down leakage, and we've invested on helping our customers use less.
Hasn't the problem been, though, that private water companies have been more preoccupied with profits for shareholders or owners rather than ploughing money into infrastructure?
Profit really isn't a measure of success for us. As a regulated business, we're very limited on the amount of profit we can generate. And as for our shareholders, well, they haven't taken a dividend until this year, since 2017.
But the owners have benefited from profit.
No, absolutely not. They haven't. They haven't taken a dividend from the company since 2017 until this year.
40 miles north of Lincoln, shoppers at a garden centre near Hull will be banned from using a hosepipe from next Friday. Yorkshire Water says rainfall has been the lowest since records began 130 years ago.
Is your garden going to be suffering after this ban?
I would think so. It might be drinking washing up water.
Have you started anything like that already?
I've started putting a bucket by the sink so that when I drain water it can go straight in there rather than down the tap hole. I have a shower now instead of a bath.
Back in 1976, with that huge heat wave, there was this expression, take a bath with a friend. Is that something you think you might do?
It's something we've always done. Yeah.
But there's little to laugh about as far as the garden centre's owner is concerned.
It frustrates you when there's so much wastage in water leaks that they don't seem to repairing. About 10 years ago we had a hosepipe ban then, and they said they were going to fix them and it was going to all be okay, and it never seems to get sorted.
Yorkshire Water says it's taken on extra staff to fix leaks and warns water stocks could continue to fall. Evidence of the scale of the problem: an old packhorse bridge, usually well below the waterline at Batings Reservoir, now back in use, at least for some.
So dry, it didn't absorb it.
Flooding in Truro in Cornwall this afternoon proved the weather experts right. They'd warned of such events because of the ground being so dry after the recent heat wave. Somewhat ironically, a hosepipe ban was also announced today for Cornwall and parts of Devon.